Hello. In this demonstration, we'll look at installing new fonts in Adobe Illustrator. So I'm going to type my name here, and then the name of this font is Myriad Pro. And this is a hold the Shift key from the corner, make it a little larger, and fix my name with a lowercase letter there. So Myriad Pro is a standard font in Illustrator and Photoshop, and you see it, and it's fine. It's a sans serif font, meaning it does not have a kind of a foot on it. Sans meaning without the foot. I'll show you one here with the foot. Let me just click here, copy, and I'll paste my name again here, and I will change that font. What's a font that we know is, here's one, Times New Roman. Okay, so here you can see the difference in font types. One is a serif font. Think of the serif as like a foot or a hat, and on all the letters in different ways, and those are serifs, and the font above is a sans serif. It's without that particular font, okay, or without the hat on top, or without the feet on the bottom. All right, so we're going to look at installing fonts, because you've seen these fonts before, and they don't jump out at you as anything special, and they're not. They're standard fonts. In fact, it wouldn't be far-fetched to suggest that folks spend less time looking at a font like this just because that font is so familiar to them. It doesn't catch their eye. So I'm going to copy. Actually, I'm going to change this. This is Times New Roman. Okay. And I'm going to copy that and paste it here. And let's look at installing new fonts that are really much more dynamic than the installed fonts. I am at a website called Adobe. It's a great site, and it has a variety and an ever-growing list of different fonts to choose from that you can install. And keep in mind, we're going to use a lot of these fonts to make decals. Fonts that work best for a vinyl cutter decal are the fonts that are big and bold. And these would all work okay, but now this one wouldn't, because a vinyl cutter just cuts straight lines. It doesn't have the shading effect. While a font like this might be great for something you want to print on a printer, it wouldn't be good for a vinyl decal. And we can look at some other in that area that are good versus poor. But I want to just quickly look at how to install fonts. So I'm going to click on Decorative, and here you can see some interesting fonts here. So here's one called Earwig Factory. I'm going to click Download. You'll see it downloading here. It's done downloading, so I'll drag it out to my desktop. I'll double click on it, and if you can see what's going on here, I have a little folder that pops up, and I'm going to install this. Sometimes they have an OFF extension. This has a TFF. I'll just click Earwig Factory, and I'll hit install. Okay. And I'll go back into Illustrator. All right, and I'm going to change this to Earwig Factory. I can type an E up here, and I can get some of... Sometimes it's necessary to restart the program after an install, but in most cases it's not. And here you can see that font. I'll type Earwig Factory. This would be an okay font to print on a vinyl cutter. It doesn't have a lot of fine edges on it, and it would be all right. It's sometimes when you get some of the curly or script fonts that don't work so well. Let's go and let's look at some calligraphy fonts. These are nice. These are great for printing. A little tricky for sometimes, unless a larger one like this. A little tricky for cutting with vinyl, like these fine lines on this font called Christina would be tricky. But here's one that would be looks like it's pretty heavy. It's the thinner fonts that are tricky to cut on a vinyl cutter. Here's one called Athena. So let me just make a little room on my desktop here so we can see this. That's okay, so I'll download Athena. You can see it downloads here. I wait till it's done downloading, drag it out, unzip it, and this one looks a little bit different. It's not in a folder, I just hit install font. That one's called Athena, so I'll go into Illustrator. I will click on this, Command C, Command V, and I'll change this to Athena. Let's see, I go to A. Lots of different fonts here that start with A, huh? Athena. Oh, here it is. What's the name of that font called? It's called Athena. Alright. Did that install? Let me just type an A up here to get me into the Athena's bold. There it is, Athena. And so you can see it looks like. Alright. And there's Athena. Alright, let me show you something else about this. And some other cool fonts. We'll install one or two more, but I want to show you something else about the font. Let's say you wanted to type Raiders. So you want to see how that looks. So I'm going to type Raiders in here and submit it. And now I can actually view, I can go into Mexican fonts and I can view what I'm trying to write or type as to how it might look before I even install the font, which could, save me some time. A lot of these distressed kind of fonts are very cool. Just remember, a distressed font has a lot of fine lines and it wouldn't cut well in a vinyl cutter. But here you can see a preview of these fonts. Let's go to Fire and Ice fonts. There's a cool snow one. Here's cool. Now, this might not, again, cut well in a vinyl cutter, but these are, these are pretty interesting fonts. Much more interesting than, the stock fonts that we typically see installed by default. So there's the fires. You could also do it if you were looking for fonts that were flowers. Now, I've downloaded a pretty cool flower font here some time ago, and I don't see it right now, but here's a cool one. This one's called Fairy Tale. I'm going to download this. This would not be a good example of a font that would print well as a decal in a vinyl cutter because of its fine edges. All the other ones we've used so far would, so I'm going to install Fairy Tale, and let's see here. I'll go into Illustrator, and I will copy that and paste it, and I'll look for Fairy Tale. Oh, there it is on top, and I'll type what it is. I remember. And I'll make this bigger so you can see it. This font's got some really cool detail. So much detail that, again, not good for a vinyl decal, but check it out. Looks hand-drawn, but nonetheless, really nice. Not good for a decal because of all the fine detail, but a very unique, very cool font that will get people to look twice. So check it out. Try DaFont. There are other free font sites, but this is a very good one right now. Over time, sometimes things change, but they've been installing new fonts regularly, and I hope this helps improve and make your fonts and text and type come alive a little bit more.